This is the final screencast for the topic of human population growth. And here we are looking at something called the IPAT equation. It's similar to the ecological footprint, but it's looking at impact, and it's also looking at population size times affluence times technology. And this is not a real equation. It's simply saying that as each of these factors varies, the impact will vary. So as population size increases, the impact on the environment will increase. As affluence increases, typically the more impact that occurs to the environment. And last, technology, which can go either way. You can have technology increases that lessen the impact on the environment. For example, we have a lot of anti-air pollution technology that has cleaned up our air and helped a great deal. And you can also have technology working against us in that we have a lot of electronic waste, and electronic waste is very problematic, and we'll look at that more closely later. So anyway, the IPAT equation is similar to an ecological footprint, but here we're just looking at the factors population size, affluence, and technology. And they have two pictures in your textbook that are drawn from a book called The Material World, A Global Family Portrait. And the picture here of the family on the left is from Thailand, and the one on the right is from Japan. And what happened was it was a group of 30 photographers who got together and designed this project where each photographer lived with a statistically average family, whatever that may be, in a different country. And then at the end of the 1 month period of living together with the family, they brought all of their belongings and posed with those outside of their residences. So you can see what this family here with Thailand has. They have some kind of cooking area, a table, a fan, but not a whole lot of stuff, right? And you can see this family over here in Japan, also sitting right down here at this table. They have some things the same, but they have a lot more belongings. And I love this book. It's really nice. When you look at the pictures, one of the bottom lines that you see, as long as there's no food insecurity, that the people are equally happy in whether they have a lot of goods or not. A lot of the happiness has to do with seeing how your neighbors are living, and that factor influences us quite a bit in terms of our happiness. Places like the United States, we have a great deal of consumption. It's encouraged. We have ads everywhere, get more of this, get a new one of that, a new phone, etc. There's even something called planned obsolescence, where your phone, for example, is designed to become obsolete and not last you very many years. Then you have to buy a new one. So anyway, the IPAT equation sort of looks at some of those factors, especially the cultural factors. Okay, this slide I'm only going to spend a minute on. It's here we're using the third term theory as in hypothesis. So the theory of demographic transition is that a population size will follow this S-shaped curve and increase like this and then level off as a country goes through various phases of economic development. So the more developed the country becomes, the birth rate will decline and the death rate will also decline. Okay, next we're looking at the effect of urbanization. So urban populations have grown, and they still represent about 1/2 of the world's population, but urban populations consume nearly 3/4 of the resources. Often urban populations are developed, even if they're in a developing country. There are cities like, let's say, Beijing in China, which may be in a developing country, but the city itself is economically developed. So you can see that the trend is toward increasing urban population, and that's important to us because that also means then increased consumption patterns. And this table looks at some of the largest urban areas in the world and what their population size is. So you can see Tokyo, Japan is up there at 36 million. Newark area down there at 19 million, and so forth. One of the things you might notice is that many of these cities are in coastal regions, not all, but many are coastal, and so that will have an impact on those when we have climate change that results in changes to our oceans. Okay, so that's it. The key concepts. Be able to describe the human population growth curve over the past 10,000 years. Caution you here. I do not want to hear something like the human population has grown exponentially during the past 10,000 years. That is not accurate. It grew very slowly until the last 400 or so years, okay? And that's when it began to grow exponentially. How many people can Earth support? These are just predictions. Have we reached or exceeded the Earth's carrying capacity for human beings? And what do you think? And what do you think will happen in the future? What factors influence the size of a population? We went through a whole list of those. How does a population's age structure affect its population growth or decline? So you need to know those population diagrams and what that says about the continued growth or the decline and the social and financial effects of that. And how does a country's population size combined with its consumption affect the overall ecological footprint? So you need to be able to look at describe ecological footprints from a developed country and a developing country, and then how those changes, how the population size combined with consumption may increase or decrease its relative footprint, and how can we slow population growth. Okay, so that is it.